Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and today is July the 27th. I'm going to do your Just for Today in a meditation for July 27th. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by a wee version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. Okay, let's get into it. It's early, so let's see. Let's go ahead, open the screen, and we will go to the Just for Today. I will be doing the spiritual principle a day immediately following this one. So they both will be posted around about the same time. Okay, we do recover, July 27th. After coming to NA, we found ourselves among a very special group of people who have suffered like us and found recovery. In their experiences, freely shared, we found hope for ourselves. If the program worked for them, it would work for us. Basic text, page 10. A newcomer walks into his or her first meeting, shaking and confused. People are milling about. Refreshments and literature are set out. The meeting starts after everyone has drifted over to their chairs and settled themselves in. After taking a bewildered glance at the odd assortment of folks in the room, the newcomer asks, "Why should I bet my life on this group? After all, they're just a bunch of addicts like me." Though it may be true that not many of our members had much going for us when we got here, the newcomer soon learns that the way we are living today is what counts. Our meetings are filled with addicts whose lives have turned completely around. Against all odds, we are recovering. The newcomer can relate to where we've been and draw hope from where we are now. Today, every one of us has the opportunity to recover. Yes, we can safely entrust our lives to our higher power and to Narcotics Anonymous. So long as we work the program, the payoff is certain. Freedom from active addiction and a better way of life. Just for today, the recovery I've found in Narcotics Anonymous is a sure thing. By basing my life on it, I know I will grow. I love it. I love this meditation today. I had so many thoughts as I was reading it. It was hard to stay present. It was hard to stay present. I could see myself in the room, my first meeting. Actually, my first meetings were at the World Convention in 93. And I want to separate how I responded to those meetings from my actual first meeting. The first meeting I attended after that World Convention, that would have been more normal compared to what we in recovery do on a daily basis. I was filled with thoughts about those first days, and I was still quite, unaccepting that I was an addict. I was still having a hard time wrestling with the word, not the behavior. Because when I went to the World Convention that year, I was able to see how similar, I could see how similar I was to everyone. It was the terminology. I had grown up thinking that alcoholism, addiction, today we call it substance use disorder, alcohol use disorder, so AUD or SUD. Um, these are in the new DSMs as psychiatric issues, mental issues, right? And so I grew up thinking that if you were an addict, you were capable of doing anything. No one wanted to say, I'm gonna grow up and be an addict. Right? If you were an addict, that meant that you would steal, you would lie, you would kill, you would cheat. It meant that you would do a lot of things that I didn't really think I would do. But when I really began to do the work and analyze my behaviors in that first step and what brought me to Narcotics Anonymous, I was able to see how similar my behaviors were. I had just put another name on them so that they sounded better. But at the core, the exact nature of what I was doing was definitely addictive behavior or behavior common to addicts. We're talking about we do recover here and how we find recovery, how the newcomer can find recovery, how they might come in like I did and judge everyone and wonder, why am I even here again? But when you start to listen to the people sharing in the meetings and you start being able to identify with the similarities, somehow hope arises. You might have been bare knuckling it up to that point, but that's normal. Hope begins to arise when we start opening our ears, putting the cotton in our mouth and listening. And then we begin to see, oh, okay. So that person is a CEO now, right? Because people share little things about what they do for a living financially, right? How they make a living. They'll start sharing about a job situation and how they really wanted to snap, but decide to make a meeting and share about it instead. And you'll find out little details about people. You'll find out that there's these PhDs sitting around you. There's these nurses, there's these entrepreneurs, business owners, very successful business owners. You'll find out you're sitting with authors, people that have written books, people that are performers, they dance, they sing, they recite poetry. You'll find out that there's people that are welders, um, truck drivers, which is a CDL license, and it was not hard to get, but it's definitely not easy to get, and it's not easy to maintain. All that traveling and knowing what to do in bad weather and stuff, and you begin to realize, oh, there's hope for me. Maybe the newcomers on paper and they have to make a meeting on a regular basis. But during that time of making the meeting, they also realize that they are being demanded to get a GED. And there might be some fear attached to that. You know, and all they have to do is talk about it, and they will see that other people can relate to having to finish their most basic education of high school by getting a GED, and how they decided, oh, that went pretty good. Let me go on to the university or to a community college. Right? There's hope, and this is what this is about. That the recovery we found in Narcotics Anonymous is a sure thing. And we will continue to base our life on it, depend upon it. And because we're willing to do that, our lives will grow. My life, your life, their lives. And that's what we really want. It's amazing. This one meeting I go to, people come in there and they're sharing about work and paying rent and losing relationships and losing loved ones, and but they're resolving their commitment is to keep coming into the meeting. I love the 24/7 NA Zoom meetings because people can come at the oddest of hours and find people across the world already in their day, already well into their day. And to me, that is absolutely amazing. Right? You could be waking up at 3 in the morning and get in a meeting and find over in the UK or Kenya, people are attending meetings and it's already 9, 10 o'clock. And so I just want to say to you that you can do it. I want to say to you that this is your season to step into those lost dreams awaken and new possibilities arise, because what we do recover. We're really quick to quote that chapter. We do recover. But when it comes time to saying I have recovered, people aren't so quick to say that because they feel like it's a way of staying humble. To me, the way of staying humble is to admit who I am today. I am a recovered individual from the disease of addiction. I no longer actively use mind and mood altering substances. Do I have behavioral issues? Absolutely. I do not know a human being that does not. I am in the spirit of recovery. I am a recovering individual, and I have recovered my mind, my heart, my physical health to a great degree. I have recovered dignity and respect. There's a lot of things that I can say I have recovered as a direct result of Narcotics Anonymous. I think this is the best thing since God and sliced butter. I really do. What I want for you today is to look at your past. Look at the day before. The day before you walked into the room for Narcotics Anonymous. For me, the day before I walked into NA, I had been white knuckling it since Sunday night. I had not used. And typically I would use all day, every day. I had a job. I was miserable, suicidal, hated everything and everyone. And I thought I was the finest thing walking. Very, my sexual presence and how I presented myself was very intense. I had a flat stomach. Um, yeah, because I used to model and work out so much, right? And so I was still in shape. Um, but I was angry because other people had things that I wanted, and I had married this man and realized that I was not happy. And here I was with this man. And he seemed very, very kind. And if I had to tell the truth, I would say that his kindness was driving me crazy because here we were struggling financially, both of us working, and he would dole out our groceries to needy persons like it was nothing. And I had a problem with that, not realizing that that type of heart is the thing that God loves. So I felt like something must be wrong with me because he was just so kind. And I was growing to a point of hatred. Then when I found Narcotics Anonymous, it got worse because was going to meetings and to the conventions and stuff, and I was seeing that there were other people that seemed like they were just happy, joyous, and free, and that's all I wanted. I didn't realize that the way they were going about it was the step work, right? But I was equating my happy, joyous, and free with being able to do what I wanted, when I wanted, say what I wanted, and act the way I wanted without accountability. That first week that before I went to that world convention, I was miserable. I got there clean on Friday with 5 days. And I had already the first day I showed up at work clean. I came in like a half an hour early and ended up receiving a huge promotion just because the lady had been praying. And she said in the prayer, the first person that showed up that day, she was going to take them on as her assistant. And my first 24 hours clean, I know I worked out that day, but I always worked out. I was always at the gym by 5. And I showered, got dressed, and went to work. I mean, work was right down the road, and I could show up anytime I wanted to, long as it was the next day, right? And I walked in a half an hour early, and her mouth just dropped. So I probably had that in my head too, right? That just less than 2 days clean, here I was already being promoted. I thought to myself, well, if I can do one day, I certainly can do 2. I can do 3, I can do 4. And so that's how my beginnings began. But I want you to think about how yours began. I want you to think about who you were before you walked into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. And you don't have to go back to, if you relapse and come back a few times, go to the time during this period that you have right now that you're clean. Go to the day before that time period, the current one. I don't want you to rush too far back because it's not necessary. The point that I'm trying to make is that we do recover. We are different people today as a result of Narcotics Anonymous. I hope that you'll have a beautiful day. There's not too much more that I could say about this just for today in a meditation other than, of course, it's beautiful. And I will be talking to you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day.